Welcome to Eureka Talks. Today's topic, William Wundt, a special introduction segment on the life and achievement of William Wundt. William Maximilian Wundt lived from 1832 until 1920 and passed away at the age of 88, having greatly contributed and immensely changed the field of psychology. He is known as one of the four founders of modern psychology, but best known as the father of experimental psychology. The great Wundt was born on August 16, 1832, in Baden, Germany. He was the fourth child in a family of six. His father was Maximilian Wundt, a Lutheran pastor, and his mother was Maria Friedrich. Many ancestors on both sides of the Wundt family were intellectuals, scientists, professors, physicians, and government officials. Continuing the family legacy of academic excellence, Wundt would graduate from the University of Heidelberg at the top of his medical class in 1855. He would later also pass the state medical examination, having averaged the highest score in both the practical and theoretical portions of the exam. After a brief medical career, Wundt would find himself dissatisfied and returned to pursue his education at the University of Berlin in 1856. There, under Dr. Johannes Müller, he would take on a postdoctoral research position in the field of anatomy and physiology. It would take Wundt 14 years of teaching, experimenting, and writing before he's finally able to successfully integrate the principles of the natural science into the field of psychology, driving it away from its roots in philosophy. The new form of psychology will be known as psychophysiology. It would take the underlying principles of physiology to explain psychological phenomena. One would furthermore support his theoretical findings by establishing the first experimental psychology laboratory where his theoretical work was being in practice and tested on a daily basis at the University of Leipzig Experimental Psychology Lab, the first of its kind, built in 1881. The establishment of the Institute for Experimental Psychology would serve as the mecca for the first generation of researching professors and further advance the study of experimental psychology outside the influence of physiology and philosophy. Leipzig Institute of Research was often referred to as the standard for all other laboratories that sprung up all over the rest of Europe and America in the following years. After having successfully established the theory of psychopathology in 1874, and having established the first experimental psychology lab in 1879, the only thing left for Wundt to do was to establish the Journal of Experimental Psychology, in which he and his students could share their experimental findings with the rest of the world. Please subscribe to our online podcast. I'm your host, HT, and this was Eureka Talks.